So City of Los Angeles has this crazy high, basically sales tax on real estate, and they called it the mansion tax. Well, you think of really expensive real estate being taxed and really, rich people being taxed, but it's had the opposite impact. It's basically crushed the development of low-income housing, of affordable housing. Who would have thought? Something like that going on in California? Let's get into it. Here we go. So back in, about a year ago, LA enacts new absurdly high real estate sales tax. Here's how the rich are avoiding it. So I covered that angle about a year ago. Did pretty well, 121,000 views. Here is a quick video, somebody kind of explaining the nuts and bolts of this, and essentially why this isn't a mansion tax. This is a disincentive to build any kind of affordable housing in City of Los Angeles. Here we go.
Measure ULA was billed misleadingly as mansion tax. Yes, it does tax mansions, but it is also
Let's go with this.
An apartment building tax. It is a commercial building tax. It's a tax on everything above $5 million. It has disincentive effects on investment. It's nominally between a 4.5% and a 5.5% tax on sales. As a builder, my profit may be 10 or 12% of the total deal. That 5.5% cuts my profit in half. If you ever want to build a studio complex in Los Angeles or a manufacturing complex, or a warehouse complex, those are going to be above $5 million since April of 2023. That's when the tax started getting charged on properties. In the city of Los Angeles, transactions above $5 million have fallen off a cliff. Development applications in Los Angeles City have fallen off a cliff. If people aren't building manufacturing facilities, if they're not building movie studios, if they're not building apartment buildings, people in Los Angeles are not going to have a place to work or a place to live. It's like mission critical right now that we have to reverse that.
All right. So, the basics are pretty simple. Anything over 5 million is going to have basically a sales tax, excise tax of 4.5%. And anything above 10 million is going to have 5 million is 5.5%, 10 million. No, sorry. 5 million is 4%, 10 million is 5.5%. So it's step up, right? And so what real estate developer is going to go, okay, I can either build in the city of Los Angeles or I can build adjacent, and my profit is basically going to be doubled because of this taxation when I go to sell it. Who's going to do that? What incentive do you have as a builder to do that, as a developer, as a lender to step in and help out this kind of project? Okay, you got a really skinny profit margin there, but hey, let's go ahead and roll the dice and just see how this $20 million loan's going to go. Nobody. But City of Los Angeles, they don't care. Most of these officials running these big blue liberal cities don't care about profitability because they want to just be able to virtue signal a bunch of nonsense, which is, we're taxing to help the homeless. Well, how's that going in California when you got $23 billion unaccounted for to the homeless industrial complex? You want to, chip in another $4.25 million, $425 million? That's what you're doing. That is literally kind of this storyline is Los Angeles approves plan to spend nearly $425 million in mansion tax money. They got the money, they're spending it. But the consequences are that they don't care. City officials don't care. They don't understand basic economics. They don't understand profit. They don't understand loss. They're just like, we're going to do this. It's going to be great because, we got more money for the homeless industrial complex. And that's always a good thing, isn't it? Isn't it? We're doing a good job. Pat ourselves on the back. They're just, yeah. There's zero thought process to, does this make sense? And no, it doesn't, unless you're in the homeless industrial complex food chain. And then, this is great. Oh yeah, let's do this in every city. Depending on who you ask, measure ULA. ULA being the one that brought this tax. Been a godsend or disaster for Los Angeles' real estate market? A new report suggests the latter. New analysis from UCLA's Lewis Center for Regional Policy Studies. Now, I don't place a lot of weight on higher education anymore, But every now and then they'll throw out a study and I'll be like, yeah, that passes the stupid muster. I mean, that I can see that happening. Cause and effect. Yeah. All right. Economics. Profitability. Lack thereof. Yep. That makes sense. So the so-called mansion tax has slowed down sales, especially for commercial properties. So the city council will, or whomever put this in place, I can't remember. It's a year ago when I did this podcast, right? Can't be responsible for all the details. Plus, you can look it up on that Google machine of yours. Whoever passed it, Measure ULA was passed in 2022 and took effect in April 2023, bringing a 4% charge to all LA property sales above $5 million. So you think, oh, that's a mansion tax. Rich people, they got money. They can pay that kind of tax. Well, you're just literally taking out your handgun and shooting yourself in the foot, because all of the affordable housing that's ever going to be built is going to be way over 5 million and probably way over 10 million. You got a decent sized project, you're, $500,000 a unit, $1 million a unit. Doesn't take too many units. And as, the whole, you're going to be at 5 million, 10 million, no problem. The proceeds fund affordable housing and homelessness prevention initiatives. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be doing that. Maybe we need to pull back on that. Yeah, because you're literally reducing the supply of housing by disincentivizing construction and development of those sites. And the proof is in the pudding, in the data, right? But the report published Tuesday and titled "The Unintended Consequences of Measure ULA" suggests the tax has chilled a once robust market in Los Angeles, while sales above 5 million have remained steady in other markets across LA County not affected by the tax. There's your paired sales comparison. Right? There it is. Right there. Just, how are other cities? They haven't had to slow down. Oh, yeah, they haven't had to slow down. Oh, those guys, that city's doing, okay. Yeah. Study analyzed 338,000 property sales over the last 5 years and found that the drop is most acute on the commercial side. Not a shocker, because most buildings, commercial, are going to be over $5 million. Under ULA, non-single family transactions fell 7 to 15% per month. LA City zip codes, a trend that compounded to 30 to 50% over the course of 2 years. So you have shrunk on a massive scale the very kind of housing that the numbnuts who want to put this kind of tax in place intended it to have a positive impact for, which was homelessness. And now you're going to reduce the supply of apartment complexes. Yeah. I mean, the exact kind of housing you need in massive amounts to create some type of affordable market. And that's why I say, you know what? Prices aren't ever coming down. They're just not coming down when you have big population centers and you've got big blue Democrats in charge. Your pricing isn't going down. It's got one way to go, and that is up. Because with this kind of nonsense, with this kind of just ideology, this will make sense. This will bring in some money. It's just not that hard to figure out what the consequences are going to be. And that's you're going to constrict all the builders and developers out there from wanting to do any deals in Los Angeles. The hardest hit properties are not luxury homes. There you go. But multifamily, commercial, and industrial buildings, the very types we need to support housing production and job growth. Does that make sense? 100%. But you got a bunch of city council people with their thumb up their ass going, guys, this is great. Homelessness. We got more money than we know what to do with. Okay. Yeah. Well, what else did you rock in the meantime? And what's the very boat that you're trying to, paddle towards something with? It's the low income housing, right? And you have literally cut off studio development, some of the cheapest housing out there, in massive droves, 30 to 50% compounded. Commercial decline hurts the city in two ways, the report argues. First, commercial properties often sell for significantly more than single-family homes, so even a slight decrease in sales leads to a large drop in tax revenue. I'm always babbling about tax revenue coming from the downtown core. That's where all the big commercial buildings are. So you have a slight drop or you have a massive drop in people encouraged to sell because I'm going to incur this kind of tax. Are you effing kidding me? I'm not going to sell. I'm going to keep it forever and let my kid pay for it with the probate tax, right? My heirs or whatever. In addition, commercial sales typically lead to new development, new multifamily development, which the city desperately needs in the midst of a housing crisis. So oftentimes you will see you see a commercial building, first couple of levels, and you have a bunch of apartments on top. That's what we're talking about. That kind of development. It's going to be over $5 million. I don't care where in LA it is. It just is. I mean, the building permit alone, how much is that going to be? Right? So does this make sense? Absolutely. Is this a no-brainer? Yeah. It's just, what were you thinking? Well, they're thinking that they're a bunch of socialists, a bunch of commies, and let's just tax everything. We'll see how it works out. What could go wrong? Right? And that's how you get here. Smith said the decline led to a $25 million annual loss in property tax revenue. Genius. And that loss will compound over the next few years. In a decade, the loss in revenue could exceed the funds brought in by the tax. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. Public policy gone sideways. Just, what are you doing? Property taxes are different from money brought in by LA's transfer tax. Property taxes flow into the city's general budget, while the ULA taxes are specifically earmarked for affordable housing and homelessness initiatives. All right, so they're specifically earmarked for affordable housing. And yet they have shrunk the supply of affordable housing considerably. You know what? I'm going to skip to the end of the article. So in 2024, this tax, the mansion tax raised $296 million, 2024, $320 million so far in fiscal year 2025. But the numbers still fall well short of initial projections of $900 million per year. We're not getting there. Yeah, but it's still pretty good money. Let's take it and let's just go fund that homeless industrial complex. So now we know what the impact was. Here's current news. LA approves plan to spend nearly $425 million. It's the largest yet under Measure ULA, also known as the mansion tax. Listen to this quote. Don't believe the hate from big money real estate or their lies appearing all over the media. Don't believe any of that, said John Donlan, director of United to House LA, a housing nonprofit. He probably gets paid $250,000 a year to just basically take tax money and go, we're making a difference. Measure ULA, he claims, is doing the steady work to create stable homes and good jobs for Angelenos. How? One simple word. How? How are you doing that? How are you creating stable homes? How? What's that doing? And good jobs for Angelenos. So now it is an employment tax as well. I mean, we're helping employment. Is that what we're doing? How? You are a moron if you believe that. You're a moron. You're just head up ass, straight up a moron. Under the plan approved Tuesday, more than $100 million is set to flow to homelessness prevention programs. How about, don't get me started, including income support for at-risk tenants and eviction defense. You know what? We need to go old school and just, get rid of all this nonsense. Just get rid of all the layers of bureaucracy and just ridiculousness and not do this anymore. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. But you know what? That won't happen. This will keep going because Los Angeles will continue to vote blue. And they keep coming up with these harebrained things. Since voters passed Measure ULA in late 2022, the tax has collected more than $702 million. And how much has it devastated the housing economy from the standpoint of development of commercial buildings? Now, commercial buildings, they don't get much headlines because it's boring. Oh, you got a big project, you got a medium-sized project, you got a smaller project. They've all got a bunch of units. You got some retail on the main level, street level. Good Lord. I just summarized most of commercial developments, right? I mean, it's got a few more stories. It goes up into the sky. Yeah, that's how that works. So, it's not exciting. But it's literally what people are bitching about nonstop. Housing's so expensive. There's no affordable housing. Well, then why don't you let builders and developers figure out a way to make some? Because they need to make some profit. And if their profit's getting cut in half or by a third, they're going to be, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to go over to that city. I'm going to go over to that area where I know I'm not going to have to pay that 4% tax. I'm not going to pay that 5.5% ridiculous tax. Measure ULA is reducing apartment development in the city of LA. This was that dedicated report from UCLA. Authors basing their findings on a drop-off in sales of property while multifamily homes are typically built. There's a cliff. The construction of affordable new construction housing has dropped off a cliff. I mean, who would have thought, right? It's because you got some idiots running city council that know nothing about basically anything other than how to spend money on ridiculous things that are completely unnecessary. In all, researchers estimated ULA is causing a reduction of at least 1,910 units per year. A reduction. Massive reduction. So I don't care. You bring in 300 million. How are you going to make up for 1,900 housing units? And that's probably a conservative estimate, right? Because apartments in the city often are built using density bonuses that require private developers to include income-restricted housing. There's also been a reduction of at least 168 affordable units annually, the report said. If we are building less housing, then the city is going to become even more unaffordable. Let me read that again. We're building less housing, your supply goes down, then the city is going to become even more unaffordable. Rents go up. I had no idea. Weird. Right? I mean, not that hard to figure out, is it? No, it's not. But, you've got geniuses that think this will have no impact. This will have no impact. F the rich. That's who pays all the bills. You look at any big business, you look at any city, you look at any community. That's who pays all the big bills. Either as an employer or as an owner of real estate. That's who pays the big bills. So you start to restrict that, those people are going to say, go F yourself. We're going somewhere else. And that's what they're doing. So, getting rid of that tax. I mean, the money spent on California's homeless industrial complex is absolutely mind-blowingly staggering. It is staggering. The amount of money. Where does it go? California doesn't know. I think between COVID and the wildfires and the rioting, we can all agree that Los Angeles is basically a dumpster fire of leadership. And whatever taxation has been put in place over the last couple of decades should be reviewed, right? But it's not going to be because you got a bunch of people who still think vote blue. What could go wrong? This is going to be great. For the 85th straight time, I'm going to vote blue and hope that something better happens. Literally the definition of insanity. Let's just keep trying this again. We'll put more money into the industrial homeless complex and it should work out. Homelessness is going up. Weird. It continues to rise. And that's because build it and they will come. Well, California's built it. LA has built it because LA has what? 70,000 homeless folks? Not LA County, LA the city. Right? I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts. You got people, look at Skid Row. Look at Skid Row alone. You just got to look there and oh, good Lord. That is worse than any third world developing country. Because at least then there, they typically have some type of moral standards, right? I don't murder people. You know what I mean? But in Skid Row, all bets are off. It is the law of the jungle. The strong survive. Right? I just don't see it any other way. So here's yet another example of a ridiculous tax having an opposite impact on the very thing that the tax is intended for, because you got a bunch of politicians who don't get simple business concepts like profitability, like incentive, like, can this go? Does this make sense? Am I going to do this in this city? Am I going to do it somewhere else? Options, right? Can you replace that complex somewhere else? That's the principle of substitution in real estate. If I can do it somewhere else for cheaper, I'm going to do that. And yet these folks, they don't care. They just got voted in by a bunch of knuckleheads. And, yeah, taxes are good, right? I mean, big blue. So there you go. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe, do all that good stuff. And I'll see you on the next one. And if you like this video, give it a little like. Thanks in advance. Bye for now.